We have to talk about Gabriel Martinelli. For these past few days, I've been reading a lot of stuff on social media about Gabriel Martinelli and his impact for Arsenal this season. Is he good enough? Is he overrated? Why is he not scoring more goals? And can he really be a long-term number one option on that left wing? So today, I wanted to talk about all those things. Why he dipped in form this season and what can we expect from him in the future. But before we start, like always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Okay, let's go. Gabriel Martinelli signed for Arsenal in 2019. So this is his 5th season playing here, since he joined us. Arsenal reportedly paid Brazilian club Ituano £6 million for him. So any talk about whether he justified the investment is pointless. I would even argue to say that even if we paid 5 times more than that for him, it would still be considered a great deal. Especially now, when we see some other relatively unknown 21, 22-year-old strikers and wingers selling for 30, 40, 50 million pounds. And most of them are failing to justify their price tag. So on that front, he was a brilliant signing. Bear in mind, Martinelli is still only 22 years old. And he's still some years away from his prime. Okay, now let's talk about his impact since he came to the club. Or better said, let's get into the stats. Like I said, this is his 5th season with the club, and we all know that he had knee injury, which kept him away from the pitch for quite some time, for almost 200 days to be more precise. And when he returned from that injury, it took a long time for Mikel Arteta to give him a chance. Plus, he had some other minor injuries along the way, hamstring, ankle, calf injuries, and so on. But those were mostly some minor injuries, which made him miss 2 or 3 games for us. So let's get into the stats. In 2019-20 season, his first season with the club, 26 appearances, 10 goals, 6 assists. 2020-21 season, 22 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. And that's the season when he was injured. 2021-22, 36 appearances, 6 goals, 7 assists. 2022-23 season, 46 appearances, 15 goals, and 6 assists. And finally, this current season, 2023-24, 21 appearances so far, 4 goals and 3 assists. So, in 5 years at the club, only once has he managed to score 10 plus goals for us. By the way, I forgot to mention, these are the stats for all competitions, not just the Premier League. He scored 10 plus goals for us once. As for the assists, he never reached 10 plus assists in a season. His current record is 7. Interestingly, that happened in 2021-22 season. Look, there are still a lot of games for us to play this season, and who knows how his stats will look at the end of this season. But judging by his current form and his expected goals assists per game, he will finish this season at around 10 goals and 7 to 8 assists. But that's a stupid way of looking at things, if you ask me, and I wouldn't worry too much about those statistics. Who knows, maybe he'll explode in his next game and score a hat-trick, so yeah, we shouldn't worry about that so much. Okay, we talked about his transfer and his current value. We talked about his stats since he came to the club. And now, let's talk about what can we expect from him in the future. And is he really good enough to be our long-term number one option? First things first, I know those stats that I showed you are not the most promising for a winger. But we have to take a couple of things into consideration. First, he had that nasty knee injury, which basically pushed him away from the pitch for a whole year, including the time he spent on the bench after his return. So obviously, he needed some time to return to his best and regain his form. And secondly, his best season was last season, right? Where he scored 15 goals and added 6 assists. And still, I've seen some of our fans saying that it isn't enough and he should score and assist more if he wants to keep his place in the starting lineup. And to some extent, I agree with that. No one would be happier than me if he suddenly starts putting prime Cristiano Ronaldo numbers next season and ends the year with 40 goals and 40 assists. But the reality is that with 15 goals and 6 assists, he was arguably our best defensive player last season. For comparison, Bukayo Saka also scored 15 goals for us last season and had 11 assists, but he also played in a few more games. Gabriel Jesus, our number one striker, although he got injured mid-season and didn't feature for us until March, but he finished the season with 11 goals in all competitions and 7 assists. If he didn't get injured, he would probably be our number one goal scorer last season. But that's okay. You are the first choice striker at Arsenal. We expect from you that you will carry this team with goals. That's normal. Martin Odegaard, our captain and offensive midfielder, also scored 15 goals for us last season. and he had 8 assists in 45 appearances for us in all competitions. I just wanted to get this out of the way because I've seen too many people criticizing Gabriel Martinelli since last season, even though he had the same numbers as Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. And that criticism obviously poured into this season. But now, let's talk about this season, because this season, I can't really defend him. For the bigger part of this season, he's been unrecognizable. I mean, the pace is there, obviously, but defenders are reading his every move with ease. He's holding the ball for too long. When he finds himself in a good situation, he almost always makes the wrong decision. It's unbelievable. When he should take a shot, he makes a pass. When he needs to make a pass because someone is standing there alone, just waiting for the ball, he takes a shot, which usually ends in third row. In my opinion, his decision-making is the biggest problem. Last season, when the whole team was clicking and firing on all cylinders, he was sharp, he was hungry for the ball, he knew what he wanted to do with the ball even before he received it. This season, when he receives the ball, he simply looks confused, like he doesn't know what to do next. Should he dribble? Should he return the ball? Should he take some wild shot from distance? No sharpness, no aggressiveness, awful decision making. But still, even with all those problems, in my opinion, he's still our most exciting player to watch. He's our only player that, when in form, is rapid enough to take the ball from our half and run past 2-3 defenders, dribble his way into the box and score a goal or assist. I mean, Saka is also fast, obviously, but he's not Gabriel Martinelli fast. You know what I'm saying. Same goes for Jesus. Let's be honest here. When we analyze Arsenal's first half of this season, I would say that Martinelli has been one of our worst players so far, alongside Alexander Zinchenko. No, I take that back. Alexander Zinchenko has definitely been our worst player so far this season. But anyway, Martinelli also hasn't been brilliant. Let's put it that way. Also, one more thing that I think a lot of people forget when they talk about Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. How they are currently not good enough to be our starting wingers week in, week out. Especially now, when we have 1 win in 7 games. Because I've also seen quite a few people who started criticizing Bukayo Saka for his lack of effort, lack of goals, assists and whatnot, whatever. But the main thing that I think people often forget, because they've both been here for quite some time now, is that these two are still extremely young. Bukayo Saka is only 22, same as Gabriel Martinelli. And their best is yet to come. They are both still so young that their prime is still, 5-6 years away. And to see how good they already are, it's ridiculous. And that's why I don't think people should criticize them. If you want to criticize someone, criticize Mikel Arteta, because he's the one that's refused to sign any quality backup options in their positions, to give these youngsters some rest, to maybe try some different ideas and tactics from time to time. Instead, no matter how tired they are, and how bad they played in their last game, you just know that they will be in the starting lineup for our next game. And let's go again, simply because we lack any quality options on our bench. My point is, there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And like I said, they are both still extremely young. And drops in forms like the one that Martinelli is currently having are normal, and they will happen. They happen to some of the older, more experienced players. And it would be stupid to expect that it won't happen to them. If they had some real competition and some quality backup options who would take the load of them when needed and maybe push them to become even better, because we all know how important it is to have a healthy competition for every position, things would probably look a lot different for us right now. So to wrap it up, is Gabriel Martinelli overrated? Absolutely not. Gabriel Martinelli has some qualities that no other player in our team has. And in my opinion, he's a player that is definitely worth waiting for. If he could fix his decision making and start being more pragmatic, more direct, and if he turns those half chances into goals more often, if he manages to keep his composure when the things get serious, I honestly think he could become one of our next great players. This rough patch will go away, I'm sure, but once again, I must go back to our main problem, and that is lack of quality replacements on the bench and Mikel Arteta's stubbornness. He needs to change some things. It's okay to rest your players when they are going through a tough period, and to give a chance to some other players. By the way, speaking of, that reminded me, I made a video called Arsenal's Biggest Problem with Mikel Arteta, so if you haven't already, I'll leave a link in the description, so go and watch it. So, my verdict is, trust Martinelli. He's still very, very young, he's still learning the trade, and I'm convinced he will become better and better as years go by. And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.